All right, guys, we're on another episode of The True Hot Seat, and today's guest is Cesar Espino. Cesar, thanks for coming on board. Give us a little bit of an insight of what you do on a daily basis.
It's running.
Yeah. Thank you. Hey, Jaime, thank you very much for that. So I'm actually a real estate investor down in Los Angeles. That's my primary function. So I work from home every day. I'm pretty much looking at deals, sourcing properties, making sure that that they make sense for me to take them on. On top of that, I do a couple other things too within a couple of different businesses that I have, and so I get involved with video marketing and some other things that I do. So I'm pretty busy from time to time.
Sounds good, man. What kind of video marketing?
So it's actually a company. It's called Talk Fusion, and it has 5 different platforms. It is video marketing, video newsletter, opt-in forms, autoresponders, and also web conferencing.
Wow, that sounds interesting.
Yes.
I haven't heard of that. Wow. Cesar, let me ask you.
Yep.
Real estate investor, you sparked my interest. I get it, right? And I've had, a couple other investors on the show. How long have you been investing?
It's been since 2013.
Okay. What did you do prior to real estate investing?
Yeah. So you know what? I used to work for corporate America, and my very last job, I was working for it's a freight forwarder. Global company. I was in charge of their engineering, project management, all kinds of pricing for the whole U.S., right? So I did a lot of projects. I was traveling a lot throughout the U.S., opening new facilities and also, implementing new accounts.
You just jumped off the ledge and decided I'm going to be an investor.
Somewhat to that extent. So let me give a little bit more background. So back in 2006 is really when I started my real estate career, right? I started investing in properties. I went from one property to another property to another property. So ended up getting a portfolio of rental properties. And then 2008 to 2009, when the bubble, took its hit, I went down with that. And then at that time, I said, you know what, I lost it all. I didn't want to go back into the real estate investing. And I focused myself on working for somebody else, which was as a manager working through a couple of different freight forwarders. And so prior to my last job, that company, I was there for about 10 years with different roles within the company. Yet I realized though that something sparked my interest again, and I decided to go back into the real estate and decided to start doing the real estate investing, buy and hold, and also do the typical flips and wholesales, right? And very recently I decided to just take that jump, right? I believe that once in your life you have to just take a risk and just jump, right? You just never know what's going to happen on the other side. And a lot of people don't do that. They're so afraid because of fear. They're afraid of that security that they have right now, and they tend not to go on and move forward.
All right, let's touch on that. You said the word engineer. Are you educated?
I do. Yeah, I'm sorry. I have a bachelor's in information technology. I have a master's in business administration, and I have a couple of certifications for Microsoft.
Wow.
Yeah. Okay. So you left corporate. How much were you making a year?
I was about 120 a year.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So there you go. That's entrepreneurship right there. Letting go of corporate, $120,000 to do something that you love. Now, do you love it? Do you love real estate investing?
I do. I actually, it's not just real estate. I've learned that, going through this journey is more beyond just real estate, right? So I've got involved in a couple of different businesses. And so I kind of just like the idea of being, being your own boss, being an entrepreneur and being able to, try different things. And then, just as you're going through those different things, you're going to learn that there's a lot of aspects of life and businesses that you can enjoy. And so with that, real estate is my primary function. Yet I've been involved in a couple of MLMs, or I'm involved in a couple of MLMs right now, which I enjoy a lot. And it's just good to do that,
Okay,
And for those of
so
you that don't know what an MLM is, it's multi-level marketing.
Yep.
okay, so network marketing, multi-level marketing. Okay, awesome.
Yes. Yeah, yeah. And so besides that, one of the other things that I'm doing right now too, and I won't say much on this except Jesse and I were talking about this. I got inspired on doing a book, so it's gonna be released pretty soon. As a matter of fact, I got to the first draft, and I'm working with my editor. The idea on this book, though, is to show and teach, right, or inspire other people to do anything that they want, right? The idea is that, it doesn't matter where you came from, the past is the past, except is just a lesson, right? And you have to learn from that lesson and then take that information and move forward in the future, right? And so the purpose of this book is to, kind of create a roadmap through my experiences as to how you can use that, right, to help you make better decisions in your near future.
Were you born here, Cesar?
No, I wasn't. I was born in Mexico City, and I came here when I was 10 years old.
So you're Chilango.
Yeah, exactly.
Did you come to the U.S. By yourself?
No, I did not. Actually, I probably wouldn't ever have come if it was my option, but it wasn't my option. But I came with my older brother and my grandmother at that time. So I was 10 years old. My mom actually came here way before I came to the States. She came here when I was just 2 years old, right? And so from 2 to say 10 years old, I grew up with my grandmother and my older brother.
So you really don't know anything but America.
For the most part now, yeah.
Not
only, I was there.
But just the sacrifice, that of how he grew up. Crap. I mean, I don't know how I would feel not being, with my mom, not being with my dad. That's, I tip my hat, Cesar. I did not know that about you.
Yeah. So that, and I actually talk about that in the book. And again, part of that is because a lot of people, when I came here at 10, one thing that I realized, right, a lot of people come from other countries and they come out here, yet they don't use that opportunity, or they don't take, if you look at the American dream, that could be anything for anybody. Yet I realized, though, there's a lot of people that come from other countries and they don't take advantage of that. They fall into, some negative aspects of life, and they tend to either go into drugs or into gangs or whatever it is. And for me, it was different, right? I came here first not wanting to be here, yet now that I'm here, I have to make the best out of that. And second, I feel like there was a bigger purpose. And so I always, for me, I've always looked at what can I do more? What can I do different to make sure that I can do something in my life? One thing that you mentioned, Jesse, which is pretty true, is, from 2 to 10, I didn't know who was my mom. And so even coming here at the age of 10, it was very difficult for me to adjust to, one, a new country. I didn't know how to speak, read, or write English, so that was really bad to begin with. And then I was living with somebody that I didn't really know, right? And there was a couple of moments there where I literally said, I don't want to be here. Please take me back. At that time, my grandma came, and she probably left about 6 months to a year from us getting here. And I literally told my parents at that time, like, I don't want to be here. I don't fit into this society. I need to go back to my life. And it doesn't matter what I did. I need to go back to that life. Yet I also realize that I'm very grateful that I'm here, though, right? And sometimes, your parents do things for you that you don't realize. And so that was a good experience. It also is a lesson for people to see.
So hold on. Cesar, I've known you for about a year now.
Yep.
And look, it sounded like you came in at 10 years old to a country, you were faced with, the language, the family issue. But didn't you tell me you had a daughter at how old?
Yeah. So, yeah, I had a daughter at the age of 16.
So, dude, you grew up really quick, really fast.
I did.
from 10 to 16. Now you're a dad.
I am. Yeah. And again, if I take it back to that, I actually grew up even before I came to the States. You know, and you and I have been part of going through this house built in Ensenada, and you see the families. Except for me to be able to survive when I was a kid, I started working at the age of literally 2 years old. You know, we used to actually sell tacos or quesadillas out in the streets to survive, right? On top of that, that didn't work out too good, to be honest with you, because we were not making enough money to bring to the house, and there was days that we have nothing to eat. And so then my grandma had a better idea. It's like, well, why don't we start sewing? You know, let's buy some sewing machines and start sewing, and so that we can actually survive. And so at an early age, I learned how to sew. I had my own sewing machine. We were sewing clothes for toys. And I remember, you know, I was taking these big bags of just all that clothes on the bus to go get the money so we can survive, right? And so I started working.
How old were you?
I started doing the sewing around 7 years old.
No, how old were you when you got in a bus with a bag to go sell?
Oh, yeah, about 8.
You were 8 years old.
Yeah.
So you were hustling already.
I was, and I think that's part of the reason why I am who I am now, right? And except, you know, throughout the life, I you know, again, I became a father at an early age. I too I don't know who's my dad too, you know, to go back to that. So I think there was that father figure that was missing, that, you know, you don't have someone telling you, hey, this is right or this is wrong. Didn't grow up with my mom, you know, you just gotta make the best out of it.
And you made no excuses is, you know, what I'm getting from this, from, you know, what I know about you. Now, the craziest part is what Cesar has said. And Cesar, you said other people come from other countries and they don't take, you know, they don't take the opportunities that are given here. I don't even want to talk about the other people from other countries, Just, you know, look at how many people are from our country that don't take opportunities, you know, that we have. And, you know, going into, you know, families and culture, that is one of the reasons why I strive, why I push. People have made sacrifices for me to be where I'm at today, and it's my job to honor them and not disgrace them. So, man, this is a good hot seat.
That's a good point of view there, Jesse. I mean, the fact that, you know, I don't think a lot of people out there look at the sacrifices their parents had to make or their grandparents had to make to get them to here. You know, and if you look at it from that perspective, you actually owe them, you know, instead of, you know, laying on that sitting on that couch and wasting your days away or contemplating about how bad things are. Kick yourself in the ass and get something done.
Absolutely.
Yeah. I mean, that's actually a really, really good point. And, you know, you guys are right. You just see it time after time, you know, I was talking about this, I think about 2 weeks ago, right? And then there's that people tend to just waste time, you know, waste life. And one thing that I realized too is that, you know, every day that we wake up is a blessing. Every day that we wake up too is one less day in this life. And so if you don't take that and you don't use that to really, you know, engrave in your head that you got to do something now, man, life is gonna go by a blink. You know, Jesse, you know, we're talking about my daughter. I mean, you know, when I look at she's going to be 23 this year. So like when I look at that, wow, what happened to the last 23 years, you know? And so I think people need to realize that, you know, don't take life for granted and make sure that you're doing something, you know, to you know, keep moving forward. And so that's very critical.
Now, you're still in your daughter's life?
I am. Yeah. I am.
Right on, man.
Yeah, I am. There you go, brother. Yeah, definitely. Yeah, I'm still very engaged and you know, trying to do the best, you know, from that perspective.
Right. I mean, there you go. I mean, you at 16, you were hit with a huge adversity, obviously, but you stuck in there. And then now it's like, you know, as you get as an adult, you still get hit with other adversities. You know, lost a lot of investments in the last crash.
Yep.
What's been helping you to move forward and just keep that mindset going?
Yeah, you know, I talked about something last year, towards the end of last year, and I said, 2016 was the year that I opened my eyes again, right? Prior to 2016, I mean, I've been to probably over 20 different countries now. I've traveled, I've done, a lot of that stuff, and it's good, right? Except I think my priorities were not where they need to be in terms of, the entrepreneurship that I have now. And so 2016, I think it opened my eyes. It's kind of when I decided to continue to work with my real estate investing. I started before that, yet that's when I kind of said, you know what, I need to stay focused on that. 2017, as you go through this roller coaster, right? 2017, I kind of felt that, back in some bad, things in terms of, I lost focus. I was kind of lost, and I was looking for that mentorship. I was looking for something, right? 2018, I discover, a mentor. I discover, a group of people like you guys, to where, I can, not only speak to them, yet I have the best interest, of them for me, and also be able to talk to different people. I've been able to get mentoring from different people, one being Marshall. And so, that's helped me. And so 2019, my idea or my philosophy for 2019 is I'm coming back, right?
So one of your mentors is Marshall Silver.
Yes.
Right.
Yeah.
And you've got, I think you've told me before, but I can't recall. How many times have you gone to one of his events?
I did to 7 of his turning points, and then last year that's where I met Jesse. We were at the inner circle, and then December we're at the next level. So I would say now, with that 9 plus the missing piece to me, and so 10.
Now, have you gone to other people, like other motivational speakers and stuff like that? And obviously this. I
have. I've seen other people. I've bought other packages from other mentors, and so I spend a lot of money on that self-education. I've been part of just to name a few, Tony Robbins. I've seen Cody Sperber, Dean Graciosi, and a couple other people.
And what do you like the most so far about, Marshall Silver? Because you seem to have gone. That's the only one that you've gone back so many times, right?
Yes. Yeah. Well, really, that's been, I would say, in the last 12 months, that has been 90% of my focus, right? I've been to a few other ones just because they're in the real estate. Except with Marshall, I think a lot of it comes down to the fact that it's kind of like a one-stop shop. I get everything, right? I get the right type of programming. I'm getting the certainty of being clear and focused on what you want to do. As a matter of fact, again, I mentioned, 2017, being tough for me. And then 2018, I was, discovering myself all over again. I was able to talk to Marshall and just talk to him, not even about business. It was about my life, like give me some guidance. So that's what I like about, having him as a mentor.
Perfect, Cesar. Let me ask you, what the question that I have for you is, what's your fallback plan? What's your plan B? Do you have one?
I don't, and I'm gonna tell you why. And so one of the things that I started doing last year too is, on top of, deciding that I have to have a mentor, and deciding that I have to hang around with the right group of people, I've also decided to listen to a lot of, great speakers, right? Jim Rohn, Les Brown, a lot of those different speakers. And one thing that I learned, and I read a lot too now, so I'm doing a lot of reading. What I learned is that, if you're thinking about the focus and the reprogramming, if I have a plan B, subconsciously you're going to start focusing on plan B, and you're going to forget about plan A. So my plan A is my plan A, right? There's nothing else. Yeah.
I like that. I never thought about that. You're jumping out the airplane with no parachute. Fuck it.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly.
What? Yeah. You heard it here. Yeah.
Yep.
Hot seat.
At the hot seat.
Exactly.
Yeah,
you're gonna survive. You're gonna figure out a way to survive.
Exactly.
If I got to tuck and roll like a ball and bounce when I hit the ground, hey.
Yeah.
Start tucking.
And if you guys, right, exactly. And if you guys haven't done it, I highly recommend go do skydiving. It's exactly that. There's no going back. Once you're up there, that's it. And I did it, a couple of years back, and I was freaking out. Yet once I jumped, it was like, man, you have this sense of relief, right? And so, yeah, there's no plan B here.
Wow, I like
So,
that. No plan B, man. Now that I'm thinking about it, I'm like, do I have a plan B? I'm just jumping, man. We're going.
right? Yeah.
What would you say your purpose is, Cesar? What do you plan to accomplish in the next 12 months?
Yeah. So it kind of goes back to a couple of things. Number one, with the release of this book that it'll be out in the next 8 weeks, I think. Now, a lot of it comes from that, right? I think, and I know for a fact that one of the things that I want to be able to do is my purpose is bigger than me, and I came to realize that maybe about a year ago. I want to be able to help other people. I want to be able to not only empower them with knowledge, yet I want to be helpful in that sense. And so, to that extent, I thank you to Jesse. I've been looking for this for a couple of years, and I remember Jesse did one of these house builds, and I said, hey, can you plug me in with them? And he did. So I went to one last year, and I did another one about a month ago. And talking to those guys, I said, hey, I'm committed. I'm committed to coming back to every single one for the rest of this year. On top of that, there's a couple of friends that I've teamed up with, and we're doing good deeds. Literally just going out for New Year's and feeding the homeless. Just literally walking to a stranger and giving them a nice meal. And I think that's part of my purpose. I also decided to start an accountability group about 2 months ago. And really that's part of the teachings, right? People come once a week. We talk about how, put certain practices into place. And we're talking about different principles and how you use that on your day-to-day, not just on your business, but your personal life, right? And how you hold yourself accountable. I think that's where I'm heading. On top of, building different businesses that I have right now. That's kind of my purpose,
Cesar, how long have you been writing the book?
I started, I think it was right after we came from the next level.
No. Hold on. No, I know when you started because, I put you in action. I want to know.
You did, yeah.
Have you been writing the book?
I think it took me about, I would say about 6 to 7 weeks. If anything.
Yeah. So, and then before that, how long was it before you? Oh,
I think, yeah. Well, the idea, the idea was there for quite some time, right?
Years?
I want to say, no, I would say maybe about 6 to 8 months.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
And after you figured out the process was actually pretty simple.
You know what? It was once you figure it out. And Marshall talked about this in one of his podcasts. And when I look at that or I listen to that, I can relate that. And he said, well, if you want to write a book, start writing the book. Well, you don't know what to write a paragraph. Well, if you don't know how to write a paragraph, write a sentence. If you don't know how to write a sentence, write one word. So it starts with that action, right? And so for me, it was something like that, right? Looking back 6 to 8 months, I know I wanted to do this book, and I was talking about it, and the idea was there, yet I didn't know how to start it. And I remember when I started the book, I started with the title and then the cover page. I'm like, cool, I got one page down, just a couple of words, and then I started just writing little by little. And it just became like every day, kind of going back to that accountability that I have for my people. I use the same principles and I committed myself to having X amount of pages done every day. And in my mind, I said, I need to get this done before February or at the end of February. And I actually finished like 3 weeks before February.
And this is, guys, this is like a practice that you can use in your life. I mean, think about it.
Yep.
I mean, not everything, you writing a book, the final finished product isn't done yet. It's taken you 6 weeks,
yep.
One word, one paragraph, one page, one chapter at a time. It's slowly chipping away and getting to that point. Now I don't think, and this is one thing I was telling Jesse is like, a lot of people just don't see the unsexy hours that are put into doing something like that.
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
and you know what? Even talking about the unsexy hours, and I know that we brought it up multiple times. You know, sometimes it's the just the inner fulfillment. I know that we're doing it, and it's not even, are you planning to sell 5 million copies, Cesar? Are you going to become a millionaire selling your book?
No, so you brought up a good point, Jesse. I was actually talking to my dad, and I said, when I finished the book and I got plugged in with my editor, I was so pleased. I was like so happy. I'm like, wow, this is a major to me. To me, it's a major milestone. It was a huge accomplishment. And even right now, of course, I want to sell the book. Of course, I want to be able to get into people's hands so they can get inspired. Yet, that's really not, the end goal or the purpose. The purpose is that if I can get this book published, ready for someone to go buy it, that to me is like, wow. Now I'm leaving, to me, a small portion of myself to my daughter, so that when I'm not here, she can go to freaking Amazon and just freaking buy the book and remember who was her father,
Perfect. So here's something that a little exercise that I do, and I'm going to tell you about this one because we all have parents. Can we all agree?
Yep.
How many of us actually sit with our parents and say, how was it when you grew up? Tell me something that you did. And here's the thing, these guys, these parents, these grandparents, they're a gold mine. And we take them for granted because there's so much that we can learn, not, because of who they are, but because of their experiences that they've had, encountered. I posted a Facebook post, and it was a girl, just playing with her phone while her grandfather, was sitting across from her. And the topic of that was, girl, you don't even know what's in front of you until it's gone. And it's perfect the way that you said it, Cesar. You're able to put, your experiences on paper, for your, for your legacy, so that, you could have an imprint, and mind you, it might not even be for your daughter. It might be for a grandchild. That's who Grandpa Cesar was.
Yeah, that's true.
Crazy.
Yeah, it is. And you know what, that's, I can relate to that, especially growing up with my grandmother. It's, you just never know, when you lose them, you just never know, right? So.
Coming to this book, I don't know why, but I want, there is a guy out here in Chino Hills, and he talks about writing his book. His name is Bedros Keuilian, and he's an Armenian immigrant. And I think it's the Fit Body Boot Camp, if I'm not right, something like that. He's got a bunch of them. But he wrote a book, and I want you to look him up and look at how he went about distributing the book. He didn't really just try to sell everybody on it. He had different techniques on how to do it where, I think he was doing certain gigs. He would say, okay, instead of paying me, buy 500 of my books.
Nice.
There's different ways of how he did that. So look into that guy, because
definitely.
Your sales go up there. You know what I'm saying? Let's get that
right. Yeah, that's actually a good idea.
If I were to read the book, what's going to be in there?
What's something that that we would get out of the book?
I think the theme throughout, and what I want you to get, and I think you're going to get, is that at the end of the day, it doesn't matter how many times the society, the situation, people, or the world are telling you cannot do it. They're giving you the no, right? That there's always a yes, right? And throughout my book, there's so many different experiences where, it's like, man, I'm here again, yet another challenge, and another challenge, right? And, as you go through it, I think you're going to find that it doesn't matter how many notes you get, you can keep pushing forward as long as you're mentally ready for that.
You know what? Thank you so much. for sharing that information. And I'm going to pass it over to Jaime to ask you the
Question.
ultimate
All right.
question.
Uh-oh.
All right. So, what's something about you that most people would be surprised to find out?
Read my book.
Read
In the
your
book.
book. Wow, good way to sell it.
Yeah.
Oh, that's awesome.
Because there are actually things in that book that people do not know about, about me, and you find that there is a challenge, yet it's a good challenge.
Cool. Well, again, Cesar, appreciate your time. Thank you for coming on the True Hot Seat with us. It was a true honor. For the rest of you guys out there, again, smash up those likes. Let us know if anybody you want us to interview. And then if there's any questions you guys want us to ask, let us know. Until next time, peace out.
Thank you, guys.
Thanks, Cesar.